Hey, the Debt Doctor here, welcoming you to the third lesson of my Insider Secrets to Fast and Affordable Debt Collection training course. Now, yesterday we talked about how to recover your debts in-house and the importance of taking rapid and assertive action. However, before I reveal my 2 insider secrets to commission-free debt collection, there's a gremlin hiding inside your business that's probably crippling you without you even knowing it. So in today's video, I'm going to expose this destructive little vermin before sharing with you a remarkable little known trick that'll transform this devil into an angel and empower you to turn dead money into truckloads of net profits at effectively zero cost. So first, let me give you a little background. From the very first day I started in the debt recovery industry, there's one response I got from business owners over and over and over again that frankly just shocks me. And even to this day, I'm astounded that any business owner, let alone the majority of business owners, would even think this way. So what is this shocking response? Well, in a nutshell, when I'm talking with a business owner about their debts and we get to the point of how much it's actually going to cost to have us recover their debts, it's all of a sudden they just shut down. They just don't want to know about that debt. And they'll come out with an excuse like, well, I just can't afford that sort of money right now. Or they might say, it's like throwing good money after bad. I've already lost $1,000 in debt. Why would I want to spend another $60, $70, or even a couple of $100 chasing that debt? It just doesn't make sense. Or they might say, well, it's only $1,000 debt. We're bringing in $2,000 a day, so it's only half a day's worth of work. So it's really not worth my time or effort to go chasing that debt. Now granted, on the surface, they may all sound like valid, sensible reasons not to take action. But the reality is that each one of these excuses, and be clear, that's what they are, they're excuses, is based on critically flawed thinking. Because what they're failing to acknowledge is the true cost of that debt to their business. Because if they really understood what the true cost of that debt was to their business, they wouldn't hesitate for a second. They'd say, get in there and get that money back today. So what then is the true cost of debt to your business? Perhaps the best way to answer that is by asking yourself this question. If I were to write off this $1,000 debt, how much new income would I have to generate to make up for this lost amount? Now, if you said $1,000, you'd be wrong. In fact, you'd be very wrong. Why? Because this $1,000 is gross income, whereas your debt of $1,000 is in reality 100% pure profit. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you were to collect this $1,000 today, it would go straight to your bottom line. All the expenses associated with the original job that created that $1,000 debt, they've already been absorbed by your business, as have all your operating expenses. In other words, as soon as you recover this $1,000 debt, nothing comes off it. Every cent falls straight to your bottom line. So the real question now becomes, how much new income do I have to produce to generate a net profit of $1,000? Now, I'm going to use a formula that really any accountant worth their salt should be familiar with. And I'm going to work the formula backwards, but if you don't follow me, that's okay. What's important is the final result. So going slowly, here we go. If you were to bring in $1,000 of new business into your business, what's the first thing that comes straight off the top? That's right, it's GST. So by taking off the GST, which on this would be around $111, that would then leave you with $888.89. Next, let's work on the assumption that your business operates with gross profit margins of 30%. Now that's fairly high for most businesses, but again, we'll be generous and let's run with that. So of 30%, so 30% of this gives us $266.67. Now this figure here, this is now our gross profit. But it doesn't stop there because we've still got our general operating expenses to take out. And again, just using fairly average figures, if we assume that we had an operating expense of 70%, that would then leave us with exactly $80. And this is our net profit. It's of $80. So your $1,000 here has diminished, it's shrunk by a factor of 12.5 times. So then if we have to do a $1,000 job to generate $80 of net profit, how many of these $1,000 jobs would we have to do to end up with $1,000 of net profits? Well, the answer is 12.5 of these jobs. So working backwards then, to generate $1,000 of net profits, which is what recovering your $1,000 debt would be the equivalent of, you would have to actually generate $12,500 of income. And that's just to break even. It's literally like doing $12,500 worth of work for absolutely nothing. So as a general rule of thumb, if your gross profits run at 30% and your overheads run at 70%, then to work out the real cost of writing off a debt, simply multiply the debt by 12.5 times. So under these conditions, a debt of say $500 is really the same as bringing in $6,250 worth of new business. Similarly, a $5,000 debt is the equivalent of doing $62,500 worth of new business. And ramping it up even further, a $20,000 debt, which really isn't that uncommon, there's a lot of businesses out there with debts that big or even bigger, that's the equivalent of a whopping $250,000 worth of business. And I just want to emphasize again, that would have to be $250,000 of new business just to break even. So all that work to do $250,000 worth of business would be for absolutely nothing. That's just to get back to a clean slate. That's not actually making you anything. And that's the cost of not chasing your $20,000 debts. Now, if all this is news to you, you don't have to take my word for it. Go see your accountant, run it by them, and they'll tell you the same thing. So when people say to me, it's not really that big a debt, or I can't afford to chase that debt, they really have no understanding of this formula or its devastating impact on their bottom line. However, there's a gold lining to this cloud, and I do mean a gold lining. Instead of focusing on the cost of a written off debt, you should now look at the incredible opportunity this now gives you to quickly and easily flood your business with net profits. So here's how you should now look at your debts. Now listen closely. So let's assume that it would cost you, say, $200, and I'm overestimating here, but let's say it would cost you $200 to engage our services to collect a modest debt of, say, $1,000. Now again, a lot of people might say, why would I want to throw $200 at a $1,000 debt? It just doesn't make sense. Because if I don't recover anything, then I've now lost $1,200. But that really is a very narrow and naive way to look at it. Because the reality is, this scenario of investing $200 to recover a $1,000 debt is exactly the same as spending $200 to generate $12,500 worth of new business. Now, I don't know that much about you, but I'm guessing you don't know of any quick and easy way to generate $12,500 with only $200. That's why investing in systems to recover your debts quickly, as well as in systems to prevent bad debts from occurring in the first place, well, that's one of the fastest, if not the fastest ways to boost your profits. Oh, and I should also mention, if you've got proper terms of trade in place, which of course I can quickly and easily put in place for you, you can transfer all collection costs onto your debtors. So in actual fact, this $200 here becomes zero. So ultimately, it's not costing you anything to recover your $1,000 debt. Or put another way, it's costing you nothing to generate the equivalent of $12,500 worth of new business. As you can now see, bringing in profits to your business doesn't get any easier than this. So now that you understand the extraordinary power of this formula and its impact on your take-home profits, I hope you look at your bad debts in a whole new light. Now, as a business owner, I hate working for nothing, just as much as I hate losing money, and I assume you're the same. So if that's the case, you have no excuse for not dealing to your debts this very minute. Because every minute you put this off is the equivalent of doing 12.5 minutes worth of work for absolutely nothing. Now that doesn't make sense. Again, the ultimate decision is yours to make, but if you want to do the best thing for your business, simply click on the link to the right with the picture of the hand holding the cash. A form will appear, so simply fill out that form, fax it back to me and we'll take care of the rest. Alternatively, if there's anything you're unclear about and you'd like some advice, then click on the picture to the right of the hand holding the red telephone. Again, simply fill out the form and one of my trained debt nurses will actually give you a call back. But as always, I'll leave it to you to do the right thing. Oh, and if you haven't already done so, be sure to click on the seedling to the right to receive today's bonus gift. Now, before I finish up, as promised, in tomorrow's lesson, I'll finally reveal my secret weapon for recovering debts over $1,000 without you or your debtors having to pay a cent of commission. So until tomorrow, take care, and I'll talk with you again soon.